The breaking news from Minneapolis today during the spring owners meetings in the NFL is that the Tush Push was not banned. The final vote, 22 I, 10 nay. That did not equal enough votes to ban the Tush Push. 24 votes, 75% of the league was needed. And here I have a picture of who voted for which side, and really of note, I guess you could say for who voted for it or against the ban. Just shows what owner thinks what of the teams. I mean, each team has a reason for each side. Of note, of the teams that voted to keep it, I mean, only the Eagles really run it. All the other teams, at least that I've noticed, and I could be wrong, don't really use the tush push. Now, maybe, they think certain ways about it. I'll let you know how I feel about it. But that could be more why they voted to keep it rather than get rid of it. Whereas the teams that voted to get rid of it, it's understandable. The Packers had to because they were the ones who cast, you could say, the measure to be voted on. And then the rest of the teams, they were probably sick of the Eagles, play throughout the year. But really, there's a couple reasons for why you ban it or you don't ban it. And to be honest, overwhelmingly, I think it makes sense to keep it in the game compared to not. Starting with the first thing is that if there's a competitive balance or imbalance, it's not the Eagles' fault that they're the only team that happen to be really successful at it. It just means that they value that play more than other teams to put players in that position that are really dominant in that area. Having a quarterback that can squat, as much as Jalen Hurts and other, big measurables in the weight room. Like, other teams should still be able to run it. They don't practice it enough, or they don't have the guys to be able to do it. And so really, that's not fair to the Eagles to be able to succeed at one play, whereas other teams aren't as good at it. Now, if the Eagles, sure, I mean, if they did something no other team could do, like you could say in a manner of speaking, then yeah, it would be banned. But the same play can be run by any team. There's no secret blueprint. What you see on the field is what you get. And sure, they might run a variation of it to trick, the other sides every now and then because it is very repetitive. But truth be told, it's a very simple play. And that's kind of the other idea of why people want to ban it, is because they think it's a rugby play. It's not a football play. And to be honest with that, that's really not a good position either, because if you think, there's plenty of plays in the NFL that come from rugby. One of the main ones is the lateral. The lateral, Travis Kelce has been a big proponent of it, and other players have attempted it, and it's a hard play to do. But that play is one of the main plays in rugby. That's how they pass the ball in rugby, is by lateraling it. And I don't think anyone wants to ban laterals in football, and really, that would be the same argument for banning the tush push as banning the lateral, just because it's from a different sport. And again, you can see that both of these can be integrated into the sport, and it's a cool phenomenon. And that's kind of what's fun about sports, that different plays can be integrated in different professional sports. So again, really based on that argument, it's not a good one. In my opinion, the only argument that would be sufficient for banning the play is injury concern. Now, people say the NFL does or doesn't care about injuries, but really, truth be told, if this play had major injuries for several players, yes, it would have been banned by, you could say, the health and safety people they basically got rid of the kickoff, and you can say that they're going to get rid of other plays too. But because of that, you can see why they would get rid of the tush push, but there hasn't been the injuries of it. And again, if you want to look at rugby and you can study that, they don't really get injured on the play either, simply because a scrum happens so often, and it's the same thing. And in rugby, they don't wear any protection, whereas the NFL, they have helmets, pads, and everything. And you don't really see many people get hurt. And so because of that, you're not going to see it get banned. The only reason it would get banned is because the owners would vote that it's an unfair play. And as you see, that didn't happen. And in my opinion, that's kind of what should happen. The play shouldn't be banned simply because one team is good at it. As I see it, kind of like you can compare it almost to the torpedo bats in baseball, that at this point have really kind of weathered out, where it's really not the biggest news and that much of a competitive advantage. It looked really, now looking backwards, that during that series for the Yankees, the Brewers just had terrible pitching. And because of that, much like the tush push, just because one team is really good at it, that does not make it for grounds to ban it. And again, it's another evolution in the sport, where a new play is being introduced and other teams are going to use it. And that's just how it is. I mean, you see teams that have kind of variations of the tush push. The main one that comes to my mind is what the Bills run with Josh Allen, where he takes the ball, he runs around his left tackle, Deion Dawkins, and then goes forward. In my mind, that's a more dangerous play than the tush push, truthfully. But they run that all the time. Josh Allen goes bowling balls his way forward for a first down, and they love it. And that's a play that's not going to be banned either because one team runs it. But I think different teams are going to adjust. And as you see on Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, they just signed an undrafted free agent out of the University of Florida named Desmond Watson. He weighs in at about 460 pounds. I would call him the tush push terminator and see if you get him in the nose tackle to see if he can blow up some tush pushes. It's very possible that he can be the guy to stop that. And it's going to be very interesting to see the counterbalance to it now, because you could say if the tush push is more popularized, then there's going to be a bigger need for really big nose tackles to come in on those third and short, fourth and shorts to try to block it. And so, in a way, you're creating another job spot. So it's just a proper evolution of the league and a new play and evolution of football. You can see so many evolutions in what plays are more popular now and what are not, especially with now a more spread offense and appeal to the passing game. It's just like that, and in my opinion, it's a good evolution of the game that should not be banned, and I think the NFL, rightly so, kept the play in the league, at least for another year. We'll see what happens this year, but that's the NFL news out of the owners' meeting. There's some other stuff, too. You know, you got the players now can be in the Olympics, which is fun for flag football, but that's pretty much it for football. Always fun to talk football, even if it's mid-May. Like and follow for more.